Hi, so I thought I'd do a very quick look at my favourite mangaka and quite possibly my favourite comics creator full stop, and that is Naoki Urasawa. He's been going for a very long time. He's in his 60s now, but there's just something really, really engaging about his writing style and engaging especially about his art style. He manages to do characters that look like individuals. They're never overly glamorous, they're, but they're never overly grotesque as well. They're just real life people, and you can tell everybody looks different, which a lot of artists struggle with. They struggle to get like a not have like a house style over the characters. So I'll just go through the ones that I've got of his. So I think the most popular, well-known one at the moment is Pluto because of the Netflix series. So this is like a continuation or expansion of the classic manga Astro Boy, and it's if you're a fan of things like Blade Runner, where androids are very hard to discern from human beings, this is Be Right Up to Your Street. It's a really, really good, fast-paced, futuristic thriller. And again, the art is just a delight. The characterization is amazing. You feel for these androids who are more human than human beings. Yeah, it's just a masterclass. And if you want to dip further back, they have these some of the issue volumes of this are a bit hard to get hold of. So that's why I've only got volume one. But Master Keaton is one that came out, I think it was in the 80s, and his art style is a bit different to it's a bit different to how he is now. It's still gorgeous, but there's a definite difference in his art style in this. This is more like a high adventure one. So it says here Takeshi Hiraga Keaton, the son of a Japanese zoologist and an English noblewoman, is an insurance investigator, educated in archaeology, and a former member of the SES. So it's got very much like Indiana Jones kind of vibes to it. It's a really, really good high adventure. Highly recommend it. I'd say this is one that is suitable for a younger age group. I'd say Pluto's definitely for 16 plus, really. But this one, I think somebody a bit younger could appreciate as well. But so it's a good introduction to the work of Naoki Urasawa. Ones that I haven't got, I've not got Monster. I have obviously seen the anime, but it is one that I do want to get. But again, some of the some of the volumes are a bit hard to get hold of, so I can't say anything on that at present. Now there are some good short story collections to dive into with him as well. There's one, which is a it's not a short story collection, but it's a one and done volume. It's called Mujiruchi, and it's got one of the most bizarre characters I've seen in comics. Just which is this character here. Just look, and that he's a grotesque, but he's a funny grotesque. And again, this is just a really fun um, romp. It's a romp. It's about the art world. It's about forgery. It's about crime, and it's about this young girl. She's hilarious in it. He's always got this good balance of doing drama with gentle humour in undercutting some tense moments. And so this is a good one and done one to try as well, Mujirushi. And then one that I'm not normally that big a fan of short story collections, but I really enjoyed this one. This is Sneeze. So this is his short story works. This there's hints of almost like biographical contents in this, and there's quite a bit of humour in it. A lot of his short stories are very music based. A lot of his characters dabble in music because he's a huge, huge, huge music fan. He's a big, big fan of the Beatles and other bands like that. And so he does a few stories about bands in here, about breaking it, trying to make it into the big time. I'm just looking, there's some stuff I can't show you here because there's a bit of nudity, but tastefully done. He reminds me very much, and I've used this artist a few times for other creators, but he does remind me quite a bit of Will Eisner, just in the way he does these like free flowing panel layouts at times. But yeah, real delight to read because it's one that you could just dip into when you just got like 5 minutes. Just pick one of the stories and then put it down, try another one later on. And then his current story, if you notice, I've not mentioned this one yet. You'll realise why in a bit. But his current story is Azadora, and this is just phenomenal. I think I've highlighted this a few times. Some volumes of this. It's. I'll give you. Can't read that. Yeah, so it's set in the 60s, if I remember rightly, and it's a very clever way of doing kaiju, where the menace of kaiju is in the background, um, and that's part of the story setup, but it's not the main part. There's also the post-war um, element in it as well, and also you've got the parts of Japan have been devastated by natural disasters. So you've got that development as well. And it's just this story of this young girl who's growing into womanhood, and it's basically her life journey and her friends' journeys as well, with this big diorama of the threat of basically Godzilla in the background. It's brilliant. It's whenever I see a volume come out, it's one that I have to buy straight away. You know, I'll put down stuff what I normally get just to ensure that I can read this first. Um, it's just gorgeous. It's a really fantastic book, and I'd say this is a really good jumping on point because it's like a gentle introduction to Naoki Urasawa's work. There's 8 volumes so far. They're quite reasonably priced, and they are all in print, so you have no problem buying them. And so yeah, Azadora comes highly recommended. But my all-time favorite book of his, in fact, this is my favorite collected story work of any comics creator, and this is 20th Century Boys. This spans decades. It starts out it's very much got like the epic scale of say something like It. So it follows the lives of these young boys through to when they're in the 40s and 50s, and everything that happens in between that. And there's this mystery of this cult that comes into the storyline, and then there's warnings and prophecies of end times and this big disaster, what's going to happen, and this weird kind of like messiah kind of like figure um, is the only one who can save people, but he's not what he appears to be. And it shows that this is number 11, but there's actually a final volume which is unnumbered called 21st Century Boys, which is like the cap piece to it, the coda to it. And so you do need to read that as well. It's a huge story. Like I said, it's 12 chunky volumes. I mean, this one's got it must yeah, it's got about 450 pages in this. So there's 12 volumes of about 450 pages each. So that's a lot of story. But once you start one, you need to get the next one. It's a fantastic reader. I used to think that Akira was my favorite manga story of all time. I love it. Artwork is chef's kiss, quite possibly the best artwork in any comic book ever. But for story and artwork, this one is it for me. This I rate this higher than Watchmen. I rate it higher than any 2000 AD story I love, any Alan Moore work, any Frank Miller work, any of the big names you can think of, Johnny Warren Johnson. This for me is the best that a comic book can be in a collected edition. It is just genius. I fell in love with all the characters. I grieved when something happened to one of them that I really warmed to. You got invested. It's like reading a Dickens novel where all these characters come together. At beginning, you can be a bit overwhelmed, but then you slowly get kind of like the beats of the characters. Each character is totally different. Each one of them comes from a different walk of life. So it mixes politics, it mixes religion, it mixes end time prophecy, it mixes childhood drama and trauma, and the big bond of friendship that can span generations, and how friendship can save the world. It is just wonderful. This, and I'm going to give ratings out of 10. I'm going to give this an 11 out of 10. This is honest. If I had to get rid of all my comics, this and could only keep one, I would keep 20th Century / 21st Century Boys. So that's a very, very quick. I thought it was quick, but it's not. It's been 10 minutes. But hey, for me, that's quick. So that's a very brief, kind of brief introduction at my favorite comics creator, Naoki Urasawa. And I would say if you don't read manga, give him a try. He's the I'd say he's the even more than Akira, even more than Nosaka, which was the mother creator of Studio Ghibli, even more than Junji Ito, or any of the Shonen Jump everyday stuff like Dan Dan Dan, whatever it's called. This, I'd say, is the most accessible kind of manga creator for Western audiences. Even though you've got to read it the traditional Japanese way from that way forward, it's just the way he lays things out, the way he draws. Like I said, it's almost got like an Eisnerish kind of feel to it. It's very, very pleasing to the eye. No panel is confusing, and it's just the little beats in between the dialogue isn't clanky. It just flows very easily. And yeah, it comes with my highest recommendation. If out of all my hundreds, and I've just realised I've got nearly 500 videos now on my channel, if out of the nearly 500 videos I've got on my channel, you go away with one thing, it's this: buy 20th Century Boys. You will not be disappointed. It'll be 12 books that you will treasure for the rest of your life if you're passionate about comics. Okay, bye.